Today, we're going to unpack an ancient story about a promise that took nearly half a century to fulfill, and the absolutely incredible courage of the one man who refused to let it die.
So it all really comes down to this number, 85. But here's the thing. This isn't the age our hero starts his journey. Nope. This is his age at the most dangerous moment of his life. A time when, most people would be looking to retire, to rest. But not him. He was looking for a fight.
And these were his words, the words of an 85-year-old man standing right in front of his nation's leader, demanding the right to go conquer a fortress city. And get this, it wasn't just any old fortified city. It was inhabited by giants.
Okay, so this begs the question, right? What on earth could motivate a man this old to volunteer for what was, without a doubt, the single most difficult and dangerous battle left to fight? Well, the answer, as it turns out, goes all the way back to a 45-year-old promise.
So to really get what he's asking for, we've got to go back in time. Way back. 45 years to be exact. Back to a single moment, a choice, really, that would end up shaping the destiny of an entire nation, and of this one man in particular.
So the mission, it seemed pretty simple on the surface. 12 leaders, one from each tribe, were sent to scout out the Promised Land. And our hero, a much younger man at the time named Caleb, he was one of them. Their job? To check out its riches, its people, and, its defenses.
And right here, this is where the story just completely splits in two. See, 10 of the spies, they came back totally paralyzed by fear. They saw giants, and all they could think was, we're like grasshoppers next to them. Their report was all about how it was impossible. But Caleb and his friend Joshua, they saw the exact same things and came to a totally different conclusion. Yeah, they saw a challenge, for sure, but it was one they absolutely believed they could overcome.
So what's crazy are the direct consequences of these two totally different perspectives. The fearful report, it caused this massive panic. And that entire generation, they were barred from entering the new land. Just like that. But for Caleb's courage, a very specific promise was made. That he, personally, would one day get to possess the very land he had so bravely explored.
But here's the thing, that promise, it wasn't cashed in the next day. Not even close. What followed was a long, really tough waiting period, a test of patience and conviction that would literally last for decades.
40 years. Just think about that. An entire generation lived and died while they wandered in the desert, and all because of that one initial choice that was rooted in fear. And for every single one of those days, Caleb had to wait, living with the consequences of a decision he didn't even make.
So here's what's so important to get. While pretty much everyone else was just focused on the day-to-day struggle of being in the desert, Caleb was holding on to a memory, a promise of a mountain. He kept that vision alive through 4 decades of hardship, and he never once lost faith that his day would come. And that brings us right back to where we started, full circle. 45 years have now passed. The land, it's been mostly conquered, but there's one place that's still holding out, Hebron, that mountain fortress of the giants. And now, our 85-year-old hero, Caleb, steps forward. And this is what he says to Joshua, his old partner from the spy mission, who's now the leader of the whole nation. It is just an incredible statement of vitality, isn't it? He's not saying he feels young. He's flat out declaring that his strength, his purpose, and his readiness for battle haven't faded one single bit over 45 long years. And this is it, the climax of the story, laid out perfectly. Step 1, he makes his claim. He calls in that 45-year-old IOU. Step 2, he takes on the challenge, marching straight for the most feared stronghold in the land. And Step 3, victory. The 85-year-old man, pretty much by himself, does what an entire generation was too scared to even think about. He gets his mountain.
So you might be wondering, why does this ancient story still hit so hard today? Well, because it's not really just about a battle for a piece of land, is it? It's about the battles every single one of us faces. It's like a masterclass in courage, in perseverance, and in the incredible power of a promise you refuse to forget.
Caleb's story completely changes how you might think about a promise. It wasn't some guarantee for an easy life. Actually, it was the opposite. It demanded a 45-year wait and then a final, brutal fight to top it all off. The promise wasn't the easy destination, it was the fuel. It was the reason to stay strong through that whole, long, difficult journey. So what are the big takeaways for us?
Well, I think there are three really crucial things here. First, courage isn't about not being afraid. It's about seeing the giants and deciding to act anyway. Second, a real conviction, something you truly believe in, can outlast decades of waiting and uncertainty. And finally, and this one's huge, your age does not define your purpose or your strength. 85 can be the start of your greatest victory.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Caleb had a mountain he was promised, right? A vision that drove him for 45 years. And it kind of makes you wonder, what's your mountain? What promise, what goal, what deep-seated conviction are you holding on to, just waiting for the right moment to stand up and say, give it to me?